Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode 231 of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. The Maxim brothers, Nate and Aaron, here with you. Aaron, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. How are you?
I'm angry. I'm
Did you watch
angry
this
because
pay-per-view?
I watched this pay-per-view.
Uh,
What we're doing this week, ladies and gentlemen, as we said last week it was where it started, which was Beach Blast 1992. Good show. It was overall a very good show. So how it ended for this series of pay-per-views was in the year 2000, Bash at the Beach 2000, and it's fucking terrible. And
it's one of those shows. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just about to say I wanted to preface this, and I know that I may have said it on the show sometimes before, and I know I'm getting right into it here. We didn't even give it an intro or anything. We're not even a minute in, and I've already started in, but there is nothing in pro wrestling, honest to God. And I don't watch AEW, but I think I could stand watching AEW more than untethered Vince Russo booking. I even have a hard time myself now. I always say about the Attitude Era, it was fine. It was fun when you lived through it because it was crazy and different. But when you try to watch it now, that shit, like 99 WWF, other than the top guys like Austin and stuff, it does not age well. It is not fun to watch. I find myself like not even like if I'm watching shit chronologically or whatever. So a lot of times I'll skip over 99. I don't give a fuck. I hate it. And WCW 2000, it's fucking terrible. It's awful. The only thing that's interesting about WCW 2000 and 2001 is I am fascinated by dying wrestling promotions. Like I like to watch the last year of World Class and shit like that. Just so watching it die is kind of interesting and going back and forth between bookers and stuff. But overall, this shit is terrible. It's awful.
And WCW was quick, man. Like when you watch this show, um, there's like 7,000 people there or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't a big arena, so it wasn't like
Right.
how do I say it? Like it's not like because it's in Florida and whatever. So it's not like they were in a huge arena, but it looked impressive because they sold that motherfucker out. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least packed all those people in it. And then you go to like I don't know. This would have been what, June, July,
This is what I think it's July of 20 or
July,
2000. Yeah.
and you go to like just a few months down the road, and they're gonna have like 3,000 people. You know,
Yeah.
and it looks bad and just
Uh,
whatever.
and
But
I want to say just for the record, I I don't I don't I don't mean this to shit on the workers. But one of the other things that Vince Russo's booking does when it's just Vince Russo with no filter, he actually the way that he books a wrestling show, I think actually makes the wrestlers not wrestle as good.
it does
I
because
don't
they
know
have to think.
how. I don't know how. Like, how am I looking here at Juventud Guerrero versus Chavo Guerrero and I wasn't impressed? You know what I mean?
It's because he has to put all the other bullshit in it,
Mm.
and they have to figure out how to work a match around all this fucking bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're gonna have this great match, and we're gonna have it paced, and it's like, oh, well, we can't pace it because we have 15 different distractions in the middle of the match,
Right.
and it's like one of the. It's all what I was gonna say was there's been shows where like when I watched it originally or whatever, I was like, oh, that wasn't very good or whatever. But then I go back and watch it now, and I'm like, that wasn't actually as bad as I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some like I know we all shit on like 95 WCW,
Yeah.
but there's some good 1995
Oh yeah,
WCW.
there's some great. They actually had a really good roster,
Yeah,
especially considering underneath Hogan and all of his garbage. Oh, I'd watch 95 WCW 17 times before I'd watch this shit again. Like
yeah,
I
or like oh sorry,
no, that's all right.
or like when we watched ECW December to Dismember. like, this wasn't as bad of a show as people make it out to be.
Right. It wasn't a bad wrestling show. It was just a bad ECW show. If you're
Yeah,
if you're in an ECW mindset, yeah.
yeah. And I'm saying that to say this. This show is just as bad as I thought it was, even a little worse.
But yeah, okay, let's dive in here. Bash at the
Like
Beach 2000.
when I start taking notes for it, I'm like, this is horrible. But go ahead.
And Bash at the Beach 2000, July 9th, 2000. Where are we at? Florida, not Orlando.
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach, yes. The Ocean Center in Daytona Beach. Attendance 6572. We start the show with stupid shit. And I always say this too. Russo's stuff can even make someone I really enjoy unenjoyable. Because I normally am a huge fan of Ernest Miller. But the ongoing stuff with the Young Dragons during the show is stupid and I hate it.
I like everybody involved. If they
Yeah.
weren't involved in this.
Right. It's fucking awful.
Like Jamie Noble's in there. I didn't mind Ice Train for what he was, The cat's enjoyable. It's what Jimmy Wang Yang, he's one of them, right?
Yeah, Kaz Hayashi,
He's one
I
of the
believe, too.
Kaz Hayashi. Yeah. Like, oh, these guys are all awesome.
But
when they're involved in this is stupid.
Are announced. Okay, so yeah, anyway, the Young Dragons are outside as the cat gets out of his limo. Smooth, as Aaron said, Smooth, who is Ice Train, is the limo driver. The Young Dragons come up to Cat, and there's racist Chinese or Japanese gongs going off in the background, and they kung fu fight the cat. It's stupid.
Yes.
And the other thing too that I noted on this show, and I've thought about it before. Do you know what else a Vince Russo produced WCW has that when he was under Vince's supervision, he didn't because they knew how to produce TV better? Okay. You know how Russo's shit jumps around a lot?
Yeah.
In the WWF, during the Attitude Era, when he was the writer, Kevin Dunn would make the camera cuts fade to each other and stuff for Vince Russo's stuff. Like, it was frantic, but in WCW, it is a hard switch every time the camera switches.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It just jump cut after jump cut.
Yes.
The other thing, like,
unnerving.
And how I was saying about the wrestlers trying to formulate their match around his bullshit that he wanted to insert into it. WCW, like, I know we always talk about how like WCW like looked different than WWE because it produced itself like a sporting event,
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because the WCW production crew wasn't just the WCW production crew.
Right.
They were the Turner Sports crew. Mm-hmm. So you take these guys that are trained to do sports television, and now you're going to be like, oh, well, now you're going to have this, like, this monkey's going to jump out of a box, and then we're going to move into this. It's like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know how to do this.
We have a 5-minute segment, and there are 14 cuts.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Insanity.
And God, I mean, people can say what they want to say about him, but God bless Kevin Dunn because he was able to produce that for television, and it was. I mean, he made it as smooth as he possibly could.
Oh yeah,
the Attitude Era. So our announcers are Tony Schiavone, Scott Hudson, and goddamn Mark Madden.
Yeah, fat blob. And Scott, I like Scott Hudson though.
I do
like
too.
Tony.
I do too. I like Scott Hudson as well. And there are times in this show where both Scott Hudson and Tony Schiavone are obviously doing and saying things they hate.
Yeah. And see, like a lot of times people kind of shit on Tony at this time or whatever, but it's like he didn't like what he was watching. Like he wasn't a fan of what was going on, And he knew it was going to end. He used to when I used to listen to his show. When I used to listen to his show, he said we were a coffin on roller skates, like we're just going down a hill, man. There's no stopping it. Like this is dead. And I like Scott Hudson. Um, he does seem like the type. You might know it. You're gonna get what I'm saying this, but other people might not get it. Scott Hudson seems to me to be like he. I think Scott Hudson would be one of those guys that has to touch you if he's talking to you.
Yeah, come up and touch your head, to put his hand on your shoulder.
Yeah, like hey man.
He's got a little too much of his cologne on.
Yeah, and his handshake lingers like way too long while his hand's on your shoulder. It's like you can let me go at any point. Like I know you're not trying to get fresh with me. I don't think it's that type of thing. I just think this is a little too. You're lingering a little too long with the handshake holder and the shoulder hold here.
Well, the opening match in this show, like I said at the beginning, it's Juventud Guerrera against Chavo Guerrero, who is in the Misfits in action, so he is Lieutenant Loco. It's for the cruiserweight title. After all of whatever has gone on between the Filthy Animals and the Misfits, they say the Misfits and the Filthy Animals are banned from ringside. This still wasn't that good. I mean, I don't know. They all wind up out there anyway.
Yeah, we're all like the animals come out and they're wearing masks, but they're still wearing the same outfits they wore. Like and then MIA they come out and they got masks on too, and it's
It's
like
so
what is going
bad.
on?
It's
Yeah, it's
so
like
bad.
just let these guys wrestle and
Like
have
I've
a
watched.
match.
I used to watch. I don't know why I used to watch it, but I used to watch these guys on YouTube. That I don't know. I found it entertaining for a while. That had like their creator wrestler leagues,
Yeah,
and some of those
I
guys
watched
did.
some of those.
Some of those guys had better stories than shit than this shit is.
Yeah, they one I watched. He had a group, and they were all like Walmart employees, and they had the manager, and he was like their actual manager. But like this is a real thing, but then they had the Walmart employees turn on the manager, and they were like, "Oh, they must be upset because their my share bonus was so low." And I was like, that dude's a retail employee because he knew that shit. But anyway,
After all the insanity, Chavo winds up winning the title.
retaining the title. See, you couldn't even remember who was
Retaining
champ.
the title. Yeah, sure. All right, whatever.
And like
Well, and
Major Guns came out.
it's Russo, so who knows? Sometimes titles change 3 times in one night.
Yeah, and none of these distractions
Title's just a
even
prop,
like
bro.
yeah, just all these distractions and none of it led to anything. And yeah, it was stupid shit.
We show the cat who's the commissioner in his office with the young dragons again. Jeff Jarrett comes in with the fat lady because he's been saying he's bringing the fat lady because the fat lady's going to sing on Hulk Hogan tonight. Jarrett wants Hulk Hogan. Cat doesn't know where Hulk Hogan is.
And then Mark Madden says, "What about that storyline developing backstage?"
Yes. Oh,
Jesus
man.
fucking Christ.
Oh, my rant. My rant during the Russo thing is going to be epic. I think I've already ranted about it before, but I'm going to repeat myself anyway. So the next thing on this show actually entertained me. It's wild, it's crazy, it's kooky, it's stupid, but it's okay. It's like TNT kooky and stupid. It's a hardcore title match. It's Big Vito. And he is supposed to have faced Terry Funk, but on Thursday or Wednesday or whenever the fuck boring ass Thunder was on at this point, he attacked Terry Funk. Terry Funk's out. So Vito's opponents now are going to be.
Terry Funk probably told Russo he's gonna go.
Yeah, my horse is sick.
My horse is sick because this is.
Bro, we should incorporate your sick horse into a storyline, bro. Your horse is gonna have sex with Stacy Keibler, bro.
Turns out the horse is the father.
Yeah, the horse is the father. It's gonna look like a Von Erich. See, I just did better than he could with the Von Erich thing. But anyway, it's Vito defending the hardcore title against Norman Smiley and Ralphus. And I put down here, Vito even popped me, and I'm not a big Vito fan, but he said he was going to kick their stank asses. Yeah, get down here so I can kick your stank asses. There's not a lot of notes because this is not your.
He also, oh, sorry. He was also trying to figure out who his opponent was, if I remember right, when he was like walking into the ring or something. Didn't that happen?
If it did, I didn't notice.
Because I remember him, like, there's a part of the show, I think, where if I didn't write it down, but it just came in my head. He was like looking at the roster and he was like, "Do we still have Ox Baker on contract?" Like he brought up Ox Baker. It's like, what?
I must have
Anyway,
not been paying attention or something when that.
probably not.
But
right.
like most hardcore deals in this era, it goes to the back. There's there's a big jug of iced tea, things like that. Now, where it got funny to me was he. I don't know. I just thought this was really funny. It's fucking Looney Tunes, and I love Looney Tunes. You know how much I love Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
It's Looney Tunes. Then fucking Smiley gets put on the elevator. And they're like, really? We don't know where the elevator went, but Smiley's gone.
So he's got to kick the shit out of Ralphus for a while.
Yeah. Oh man, that was fucking Looney Tunes, man, and I love that shit. That was fucking campy as fuck. But that was fun.
Part of me thinks it's also like, how do I say, like, if Vince Russo came up with like their story for their match, it's like that's what you should do. You shouldn't be in charge of anything that's like the big angles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I don't even know if he came up. He might have not even came up with this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This might have been a Kevin Sullivan thing or something. But
well, and he might not have, because at this time, and you don't know how much of the show that he threw himself, like threw his input into, because he and Bischoff both had been gone for a few weeks before this.
Yeah.
So the actual card of this show was booked probably by Kevin Sullivan and Terry Taylor, I assume. So I don't know. You don't know how much is actually. Well, you can tell some of the stuff is actually very much Russo, but I don't know. And then Vito, now, like Aaron said, because Smiley gets sent away on an elevator, Ralphus is left alone with Vito. So Vito does some hardcore things to him, puts him through a table and pins him. And Norman Smiley's too late to get to the ring to save Ralphus.
I don't know. To me, Ralphus is like, this is gonna sound weird, but Ralphus loses something for me when Bobby Heenan's not involved.
I agree.
Like, I think Bobby Heenan got Ralphus over with me more than Jericho did. Because like when he'd point and Bobby'd be like, no, no, no. Like when he would like narrate what Ralphus was thinking or saying, you know? Like it were like, I don't know. But I also think it's funny that Jericho said Ralphus like got a big head and wanted a contract and started having demands and stuff. Yeah. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, you gotta go away now. Get back in the truck.
Yeah. Well, after that, we get an interview. Mean Gene interviewing Kevin Nash. He's going to have a match with Goldberg later. Somehow Goldberg is in charge of whether or not Scott Hall can ever wrestle again, because Goldberg has Scott Hall's contract and he's going to rip it up. What I don't understand about this is why would, like, what you telling me, WCW doesn't have another a copy of the contract on file?
Yeah, I don't know. There's probably some stupid storyline that we didn't see before it.
Probably. It's still stupid.
I know. I'm not saying it isn't, but you know, like, and this is, I don't know. I'm just trying to not have everything be negative.
Hey, we just laughed at the last match. It's fine.
Yeah. You know how we like sometimes or not just us, but sometimes like people point out like like the click didn't shit on this guy ever. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
like when we talk about like Bobby when Bobby went to WCW, he was never involved in any of that shit talking of WWE WWF on Nitro or whatever.
Mhm.
I just think it's funny from the start. Um, Nash and Hall never, because he even interviewed him on Nitros and stuff. They never disrespected Mean Gene,
No. No.
and he like even up until this point where people were kind of disrespecting
Yeah,
him on
the
camera
the,
and
only,
stuff like
the
that.
yeah, the yeah, the
Kevin
only
Nash
thing
and Scott Hall never fucked with him.
the only thing they would ever do was the same stuff that Hogan would do. The most they would ever do to Gene was like point out that he was bald, you know. But they would never, like you said, they would never like shit on him. Or if Gene made a point, they would never do the ooh to Gene, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah. I just because like even like in those '96 Nitros when they were just beating up everybody and laying people out and shit, like when they were out by that limo or whatever with them, they
Yeah.
were cool with him. They're like, "Yeah, Gene, thanks, man." I don't know. I just thought it's whatever, but yeah, just the whole contract thing's stupid.
The next thing is the complete opposite of what I said. Vito versus Norman and Ralphus was, which was entertaining, fun. The next thing is fucking stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah, and the video package, they put more work into that video package than I've seen them put into like video packages for their main events.
That's probably Russo, bro. This is what sells, bro. Tits and ass. It's Miss Hancock, who of course is Stacy Keebler versus Daphne in a
He
wedding
said it's an
gown.
ass, but that's not what it sounded like.
What did it sound like? I said.
In my ear, I heard it's an ass. Like this is what sells, bro. It's an ass.
Well, it
I was
is.
like, why did he just say it's an ass? And I was like, oh, he said it's an ass. Okay.
So
Yeah.
again, Miss Hancock, who's Stacy Keebler, Daphne, wedding gown match, which doesn't even really, I don't know, because you got Crowbar and David Flair involved, and there's cake. There's a cake, which the announcers acknowledge even before the thing starts, that the cake's probably going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Everybody in this thing winds up in their underwear, including the referee.
Just like the referee, Slick Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't.
this is stupid.
I can't. I can't. It's not like you would think in execution when I just said by the end of this, everybody, including the referees, in their underwear. That something entertaining should have happened here, but it's not. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. It's terrible, and it's the antithesis of wrestling.
Yeah, and it's just nothing's good about it, and then it's a clusterfuck of just stupid shit. And it's another thing where it's like Crowbar is a talented guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Daphne, she wasn't a terrible character, and not a horrible worker. Obviously, Stacy Keebler's great to look at, and I don't know. I don't know what the try to find something redeeming about David Flair. I mean, I guess crazy David Flair wasn't totally bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
see, and
guess.
I loathe crazy David Flair. I can't find it. And I'm not saying anything about the guy. David Flair could be a perfectly nice dude, but David Flair never should have been in the wrestling business, honestly.
Yeah. I'm just trying to like, I don't want to say it. It was, I'm trying to find, it's like, I'm going to try to find something redeeming about this show. And I can't. Like, you even done better than me. I hated that hardcore thing. Other than the elevator spot, I hated everything about it. I was just letting you have your flowers. I'm like, there you go, man.
If you enjoyed it, that's you. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've hated everything. And it ends obviously with Daphne winning because they're trying to they're double teaming David Flair and they're gonna try to break his dick or whatever. So Miss Hancock takes off her dress to distract everybody. So Daphne's the winner, and then there's a cake fight, and WCW can't even clean up cake properly.
Oh, yeah, you're right. they got
Like
they got
they got them out there with like bounty paper towels and
guy.
fucking Febreze or whatever, trying to like clean up.
One guy's got a $5 Libman mop.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck is going? Just flip the mat over, flip them over. Just flip the mats over.
Here's something funny, actually. My notes anticipated your question, and I didn't even realize it. I have here in my notes that our next segment is more stuff with the cat and the young dragons.
I my own notes too. I'm like, that's where it was.
Yes, yes. Cat and the young dragons are in his office again, and it's the whole thing of where's Hogan, and he's worried that Hogan's not here, and he mentions that he thinks Ox Baker might be available. And I did write down LOL.
He said his Ox Baker still under contract.
Yes, and I wrote down LOL. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
it was Ox Baker. I got the cat and Vito mixed up. Sorry. But yeah, it's just it was I knew the Ox Baker thing popped me. I just forgot who said it, and like I said, it was like buried in the middle of my notes about the frustration of this last evening gown match and the cake cleanup. Like I've seen people assemble cage. I've seen ring crews assemble cages quicker than it took them to clean that fucking cake up.
I think they were still cleaning up cake halfway through the next match. And the next match is the tag team titles.
I was like thinking about like if Vince McMahon was running this. It's some way to be like, fuck the goddamn cake. Here, leave it.
Leave the fucking cake.
Anyway. Fucking cake, just leave
it. Fucking vein point.
I'll work around it.
Yeah. We're around the goddamn cake.
Anyway.
The next match is for the tag titles. We're back to at least a little bit, whether you like it or not, a little bit of normalcy here, I guess, as far as a match goes. It's the Perfect Event, who is, of course, Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo, defending the tag team titles against Chronic. I don't have any notes on the match other than Chronic wins the tag titles. I'm not a big... I like Bryan Adams, but not in Chronic. I'm not a fan of this tag team, but I did write, they are fucking over with this crowd.
Yeah. You've known my opinion of Brian Clark forever. You know, I don't like him. Never have. The only time I ever found him even somewhat enjoyable was when he worked for Cornette as the Night Stalker. At that point, I thought there was some upside to Palumbo. Sean Stasiak is just, I think he was just an average guy. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't anything special. And then the thing with Chronic is they started as they got put together a little bit before Russo got there. I do believe.
Yes,
and
they did.
Or it was that time when he was gone. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, either way, they became a team while he was not the booker. Yes.
And Chronic was supposed to be like chronic pain. You know what I mean? So obviously, the minute Rousseau gets a hold of them, it's all a joke about drugs.
Yeah.
And it's like neither one of these guys even have a weed gimmick. But you're calling their move the high times and
Mm-hmm.
Um, like fucking uh, fat ass is making like doobie jokes and stuff. It's like, what is good? It's not even what this gimmick is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But you went for the simplest joke. Russo's a hack comedian.
He is. He is.
That's what he is. He's one of those hack comedians that was like around in like '88 that just went for like the simplest joke. You know,
Mm-hmm.
women be shopping. It's like that's
Yeah.
fucking Vince Russo.
Fat people
White
be
people do
eating.
this.
Yeah, fat people
Yes,
be eating.
fat people be eating. It's just shit like that. He's a hack fucking comedian. He's a hack. Fucking hate him. The older I
Um,
get, the more I hate him too. And
the
there's polarizing people. I don't want to keep talking. Sorry.
That's all right.
There's just
He's
polarizing people. There's polarizing people in the wrestling business too. Like the older guys, you know,
yeah.
that like even if they have all their podcasts and shit, they don't like each other for the most part. You know, like Cornette, Pritchard, Bischoff, um, some of these other guys. You know, they're kind of up there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But like the one thing all of those guys agree with is Vince Russo's a fucking idiot.
Yes. Um yeah, and he is an idiot. And the I had a thought there. It'll come back to me. But yeah, Chronic wins the tag titles in this, and I actually wrote down the match wasn't fucking terrible. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't a two championship caliber tag teams going at it for the world tag team titles, but this is WCW 2000, so I guess this is what we got, and it wasn't fucking awful. Everything in it made sense. There wasn't a lot of chicanery going on. Everything was pretty much just a straight up tag match, and Chronic won the titles.
And you know why I think that was that way?
Because they probably said, we don't want none of your crazy shit during our match.
Well, I don't think they would be able to say. To me, this seems like something Vince Russo didn't care about,
Mm-hmm.
so he didn't have anything to do with it. So this was probably Terry Taylor or Kevin Sullivan just booking a tag team match, you know, and
Yeah.
helping these guys out. Like I don't like because there wasn't any chicanery in it or stupid gimmickry or anything like that. It was just a tag team match between four adult athletes.
Yeah.
So I think Russo is probably like, I don't care, bro, whatever. Just get the belt on Chronic so I can make some drug jokes.
Yeah. Got to make some
Whatever.
420 jokes, bro.
Yeah, 420.
Um, so the next thing on this show is Booker T versus Canyon. Canyon is
Well, you missed the cat. He got confronted by Jeff Jarrett again, and the kung fu music played.
Oh yes, I do have it. Cat in his office,
and then they attacked and I'm saying this because he keeps getting confused about where that music's coming from, but he's been attacked 4 times on this show every time the music comes on. So I think after the first time you'd be like, hey, when I hear kung fu music, I'm probably about to get attacked.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It really is. So
They've done the same joke 5 times in one show. Hack. Go ahead. Sorry.
Vince Russo is Buddy Hackett. So yeah, we have that office thing that Aaron mentioned. Jarrett's bored. He wants Hogan. Where's Hogan? Blah, blah, blah. Then we get a match between Canyon and Booker T. Canyon's gimmick right now, he's feuding with Diamond Dallas Page because I think they've already done the thing where he was supposedly paralyzed, right? And then
Yeah, because
isn't that where that came from?
Yeah, because he turns up getting out of the wheelchair and turning on him, and yeah.
So he's dressing up like DDP, or he's got like the wig and he's doing the bang thing and everything, and then but his match is against Booker T. The match is fine. It's the thing that I didn't like about this match. I don't know why. There are times where I have to turn it down because of fucking Madden, and Madden was overbearing during this match. Like sometimes he is so overbearing. It's like shut the fuck up, you fat fuck.
Yeah, he's trying to get himself over, and
he even says, and I think it's during the, and that just got in my head because I didn't write it down, but it pissed me off earlier. It was during the Daphne Stacy Keibler thing. He misused something. He misused a term, and it's like fuck you for doing it. He said to coin a phrase, snoochie boochies. First of all, you didn't coin it, you fucking idiot. Coining a phrase means you invented the phrase.
Yeah, and you fat fucking, I hate him. So you don't even need to like help push me that way. I've always hated it. I fucking hated him back then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you on TV and drunk Bobby Heenan is much better. Like they should have just kept drunk Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, I'd take.
Who cares if he shows up drunk? He's Bobby fucking Heenan.
Yeah, I'd take drunk Gordon Soley at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match is Canyon and Booker T. The finish, like I said, the match is fine. It's Canyon and Booker, so it's good. But the finish comes with Jeff Jarrett giving Booker T a guitar shot.
With his
Canyon
paper
gives,
guitar.
yeah, shit just explodes. Canyon gives a canyon cutter to Booker off the top rope or off the second rope, either way, and pins Booker and gets the victory.
Yeah. And I know you've always said it, and I'm gonna keep burying this fat fuck because it takes a lot of dirt. Because you should see the size of the hole. But you said multiple times that it's Trongard. It's like your least favorite commentator of all time, or anybody to ever be on headsets in wrestling. To me, it's him. It's Mark Madden. He's my least favorite permanent professional wrestling announcer ever. It's Mark
And
Madden.
I would never say that you're wrong, because I mean, if I loathe the Tron guard, but you might almost convince me on Madden because he's fucking awful. He just grates on your nerves so much. Like he's not funny. He's not funny. He's not witty. He's not. He doesn't bring any kind of intelligence. Like there's like 7 times during the show that Scott Hudson has to tell Mark Madden what's going on in the storylines because he doesn't even pay attention to the fucking shows he's commentating for. He just wants to make lewd jokes and coin a phrase that Kevin Smith, or I'm not Kevin Smith, but Jason Mewes coined fucking 10 years ago.
Fucking idiot. And at least Trongard was like, I'm gonna try to get the wrestling over, and the guys in the ring.
Yeah.
Not myself. Trongard wasn't out there going snoochie boochies.
To coin a phrase, snoochie boochie.
Boochie.
Or actually, for his time, he'd be like, to coin a phrase, up your nose with a rubber hose.
I would think it'd be funnier if he fucked it up.
Up your hose with a rubber nose.
Up your hose with a rubber nose.
That might have to be the name of the
phrase. This match is gonna be a 21 schedule.
It's gonna be dynamite.
Up your
hose with a rubber nose might be the name of this episode. The next match is for the U.S. title. It is Scott
Good on it,
Steiner.
Potsy. What'd you just say to me? What'd you just say to me? Oh, Nate, too. Sorry, I'm trying to talk about shit. Like I was watching TNT, and it was when I just I just thought about Jesse being like, "What you just say to me?" It was the Lord Alfred Jesse thing.
Oh, stupid.
What do you think about Jesse's outfit, Lord? It's his jeans and his shirt and wearing that hat.
That hat. What about my
That
hat?
hat. Stupid. He doesn't even go, your hat is stupid.
No.
Like, and then your hat. Stupid.
I just watched TNT. I just watched a fucking TNT.
I thought it was great too. Sorry. There's been very few times in that guy's career where he had nothing else to say.
Jesse was
Lord
speechless.
Alfred just kind of shut Jesse down. He's like, I was like, stupid.
He just turned. Yeah, Jesse just turns back to Vince. Like, all right.
That just put me in my place. All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just watching a TNT, and on the panel, on the stage. Okay, so you got Alfred and you got Vince McMahon on either side, and then in the chair and on the sofa are fucking Moolah and Blassie, and they're taking questions from the audience. It is Moolah and Blassie totally just cutting up, just making each other laugh like friends and fucking cutting up. And it is so fucking funny, them insulting the people and stuff. Like there's an old guy there that you can tell is like a regular fan, that they know who he is, you know, like maybe a guy that comes to the Garden or whatever. Oh man. And he's going back and forth with them as an old guy wrestling fan, and they're cutting up back with him. Like, Blassie says, I see you got your teeth in there tonight, gummy. And the guy, and of course Lillian fucking laughs, all right? And then the guy goes, don't call me dummy. And Blassie's like, well, you must not have your hearing aids in. I called you gummy. It's so fucking funny. It's so natural and funny. Oh, they're so funny.
Is Vince even trying to hide it?
Oh no, Vince is
fucking just laughing.
Vince is dying. Like, gummy.
I love when he would not be Vince. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he only did it on TNT.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd have fun on that shit. Like, I don't know how we got talking about TNT, but it's like this, or it's like what you were just talking about. That time that Bobby Bobby Heenan and Big John Studd or whatever shaved that guy's head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
At the barbershop, like he's laughing at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is all audibly laughing. And, and one of my favorite things is, obviously it's like notorious or whatever, but the Vashon wedding,
Mm-hmm.
when it is that it's Dr. D that hits why does his name just go out of my head? The little midget.
Oh, Skylo.
He hit Skylo though, correct?
Yes.
Because he blasts him with that fucking pie.
Mm-hmm.
Like blasts him with it. But it sticks to his head. And Vince McMahon is laughing. And it's a real moment because Vince is like, and he's like, Lord, look. And then Lord looks, and Lord's like,
he's like, Lord, look.
Lord, look at him. But anyway, we got to get back to this shit.
Well, Scott Steiner and Mike Awesome, U.S. title. The Steiner recliner is banned, apparently.
Yeah.
So Scott Steiner, the cat comes out, and the cat I don't know. Is the cat supposed to be a heel or a babyface commissioner or whatever? Because he acts like a babyface or like a heel, except when he's dealing with Scott. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The Steiner recliner apparently has been banned for some reason. So Cat threatens Scott Steiner that if he uses the Steiner recliner on Mike Awesome, he's going to strip him of the title. Scott Steiner, being Scott Steiner, is pretty much like, fuck you, does the recliner. And Cat says he's stripping him of the title, and then Scott Steiner attacks him.
Yeah, and then the Cat leads with the United States Championship, and the winner is, I wrote, who fucking knows?
Yeah, I didn't write it.
Even the announcers are like, is Mike Awesome the champion now, or like, why is this happening? No fucking idea.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The next thing is community theater, and I fast forwarded through it.
Well, I didn't.
It's
oh,
go ahead.
I had a question
Mm-hmm.
that came out of the last match, and I'm not even saying like looks or whatever. I thought Medeja had like a lot of potential.
Oh, Medeja was really good, and
I think she should have. I wish she would have went to Vince. I don't know why she didn't,
mm-hmm.
but I really liked her.
I did too, and I also thought that because it at this point, I mean, in most points in his life, other than with his brother, you could always tell that Scott Steiner was protective of himself and you can just tell Scott Steiner's one of those guys that wasn't like a cut him up at the locker room and stuff. You know, he didn't have a lot of friends. Yeah. So he didn't have a lot of chemistry with a lot of people. But I actually, yes, because I always thought in my head, the only person that he had as much chemistry with as his brother was this woman. For some reason, they must have been really good friends or something, because they have a really good chemistry together. Like, you don't see Scott Steiner smile very much, but sometimes him and her will just be talking in the ring, like those conversations that we don't know what they're saying.
Well, yeah, they had a couple of them here when they were coming out. She's laughing at his ass with whatever he's saying to her. He's cracking her up on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Those two worked well together, and I think if she would have had a little bit of I don't know, a little longer in the business, or maybe got picked up by Vince, I think she'd get talked about differently. Hell, I think she'd just get talked about. Like, nobody even brings her up anymore.
And she was also one of those girls that didn't try to go outside of her purview.
No, like, she knew what her job was.
Yeah, Medeja never tried to be like a wrestler, you know? She never tried to work herself into that kind of shit, which I'm sure she could have, you know, with Scott if she wanted Scott to put a word in for her or something to get her in the ring. She never tried that. She could tell she was just happy being his valet.
Yeah, so I just thought she should get a little bit of shine, because I was like, yeah, she was pretty cool.
I totally agree with you. Yes. The next match, again, I fast forward to the end. It was community theater. It's stupid. I've seen it before. I've seen Ed Wood movies that are better.
At
least they're entertaining. It's Vampiro versus the Demon in a graveyard match.
Not very many notes.
You said I have notes.
For one, they keep calling him Dale. Like, he's the Demon, but they're like, Dale Torborg. Even Vampiro's calling him Dale. It's like, you can't call him Dale if you're in the graveyard. Get up, Dale.
It's a shoot, bro. It's a shoot.
Yeah. Well, there's a casket, and it's surrounded by crime tape. Like, I don't know, like, why is there crime tape around it? And they go to open the coffin because they think there's one highlight in this whole match, and you know who it is? It's Charles Robinson. He's the only good thing, because he's funny a couple times. Like he's got like the big old flashlight. Like I thought that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And like Torborg's like, "You're in charge of Asia, Chris," and he's like, "What?" Like, or yeah. Sorry, I lost my place. But anyway,
Right.
they think I said Chris, I meant Charles. You know what I meant. But
The people that
anyway,
wrote this shit, the people that wrote this shit lost their place a long time ago. No worries.
yeah. But anyway, they think they think Vampiro is going to be in this coffin that's marked by crime tape, but he's not. Instead, he's up in a tree. And he jumps out at the demon.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this.
Like, because he jumps out of the tree, but the reason they see that he's in the tree is because Charles Robinson gets startled and puts the flashlight up to the tree, and then he's like, "Holy shit!" And Vampiro jumps out of the tree. Then they battle into an open grave. Vampiro takes out Dale for a little bit and attacks Asia. And Dale gets out of the. I'm just gonna keep calling him Dale. Dale gets out of the grave, and Charles Robinson's like, "Dale, they went that way." So then Dale Torborg begins running, which he shouldn't do because he runs like Steven Seagal. It's ridiculous. Like he runs like he has baby arms, even though he doesn't, like little T-Rex arms. But anyway, then he ends up fighting Asia again, and she's like rocking back and forth on the shore of this little pond. And they're like, "What did they do? What did he do to her? She's catatonic or whatever." Well, then Vampiro's in the pond, and he jumps out of the pond and attacks Dale, and they battle into the pond. And then Dale gets knocked out in the pond, and he escapes. Vampiro escapes, and once again takes Asia with him. Charles Robinson saves Dale's life because he's knocked out in the pond. So it looks like he's going to drown. So Charles Robinson saves Dale Torborg's life, pulls him out, tells him which way he went again. He's like, "You went that way, Dale." So then Dale runs again, finds Asia laid out next to a coffin, and he's an idiot because the last time she was laid out, it was used as a distraction, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes over again this time. Now Vampiro does pop out of the coffin and spits what looks like cherry coke into Dale's face, and then hits him with a headstone from Party City, and then runs away.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner is who fucking knows? That's what you missed.
Well, thank you for doing the work.
You're welcome.
It's just community theater bullshit. It's like it's them. It's WCW, Vince Russo, and WCW. It is Vince Russo thinking he knows listen. The only people in the world that know how to do Undertaker Kane is Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. And I know Russo had some things to do with it, but the only person that can do the only person that can do the only people that can think of what to do with the Undertaker are Vince McMahon and the Undertaker. Vampiro is not the fucking Undertaker. So what they're trying to do here to like do Undertaker-ish shit with him and Torborg and Sting, and it's just fucking awful. It's awful.
Yeah. It's all trash. I mean, you got to think last month they set Sting on fire and threw him off of a stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was the worst Sting imitator ever? That's saying something. They had Stings on Nitro in '97 that had afros.
They had Stings on Nitro in '97 that were 7 foot tall.
I know one never had an afro, but it's well.
I know what you're saying. Like they had short stings, they had tall stings, they had fat stings, they had
They had
skinny
things with
stings.
like big bushy hair.
Yeah, stings with that needed to use conditioner because their hair was
Yeah,
fucking bushy.
they had
Yeah.
like stings with like caveman lawyer hair and shit. It's like, what is going on?
Oh
This
God.
thing has sideburns.
Why does that sting have mutton chops? Like what?
This thing doesn't have. And the commentators are like, it's gotta be him.
I'm the greatest sting on God's green earth.
After his thing. But yeah, this is bad.
Yes, not good at all. And I didn't even watch it. And I can say just, I mean, it was It was funny to hear your description of it, but then when you think about the fact that your description was something that actually took place, that's
Yeah.
rough.
The next thing is the thing I went and made my pizza.
Yeah, while Aaron was making his pizza, we had a match between Shane Douglas and Buff Bagwell, where Tori Wilson joins Shane Douglas, cheats to help Douglas win, and now they're not just ripping off WWF. I don't know. They're not ripping off WCW or ECW. It's not like
Oh yeah, they totally are because Mark Madden says that he says Tori Wilson is now Shane Douglas's head cheerleader.
And that's what I wrote here. There have been many female valets in the past, and that's not anything that's egregious, but it's egregious that they're stealing the head cheerleader thing.
Yeah, it's like you just totally stole something that you didn't write. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm surprised he wasn't like, to coin a nickname, she's the head cheerleader. It was fun seeing Tori Wilson, though. I'll never get mad about seeing Tori Wilson, especially at this point in her life. And when she jumped out of the ring, the camera caught an angle, and Scott Hudson was like, "Well, that defied physics and all logic." Like, I thought that was a funny line. But yeah, it just yeah, I could care less. And like they were making this tag, like these two breaking up, like it was like this big long term tag team, and I think they teamed for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Because well, this is July. They started teaming when the whole New Blood storyline started. So that would have been April, May. So yeah, they've been a team for like 3 months. It's not like the Road Warriors broke up.
Yeah, it wasn't like when Sean threw Marty through the window. Like, it's like, yeah, I don't know. And then Buff, he's just terrible. And Shane, at this point in his career, like, I'm not gonna say he was a bad worker or whatever, but this was the least interested I'd ever been in Shane Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, that happens. Then Hulk Hogan arrives. Mean Gene interviews Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett talks about Hulk Hogan. And then we get into awful stuff. Awful stuff. Jeff Jarrett's music plays forever as they're contemplating about what's going on with this whole thing. Rousseau comes out to the ring weirdly, like walking weirdly with his head down or whatever, like a baby throwing a fit. Jeff Jarrett then comes out. Then Hogan comes out. Then Jarrett runs up to the stage, stands there and fakes that he's going to get in the ring a couple of times and dodges Hogan. Jarrett lays down. Hogan looks shocked, bewildered, apparently. I mean, I'm going to go with everybody's word on this. There was a lawsuit and everything, so apparently Hogan was blindsided by this. This wasn't. But anyway.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-mm.
This was what they were. This is what Hogan planned on doing.
Okay.
Like Hogan's and Bischoff's plan were, we'll do this thing. Hogan will leave.
And, oh yeah. Now that you say that,
and we'll have another champion Like there was supposed to be like this tournament to declare like the new champion, and they get to the end of the tournament, and then Hogan shows up, and then there's tied like WCW title for WCW title, kind of like HBK and Michaels or HBK and Razor, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
I never lost the belt. Sorry, go ahead.
And yeah, Jarrett lays down for Hogan. Hogan puts his foot on Jarrett, and then Hogan. There's things that I wrote down here. It bothers me so much. Worked shoots like this bother me so much because the announcers say this is a slice of real life. This is deviating from the script. Things like that. And the thing about this, and I say it all the time, is so what you're telling me is everything else on the show is bullshit. Or no, everything. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't even know what I'm supposed to think. Is everything bullshit and this is real, or is this real and everything's bullshit? What you can't have it both fucking ways. It doesn't work that way.
they didn't talk to us about this in the production meeting.
Yeah. But then
Like, God damn it.
I'm supposed to be invested later on in Booker T winning the title because apparently he didn't really win the title.
And that whole Staying Vampiro thing, I mean, so that did look as fake as I thought it was because it was fake.
Right.
And
You can't do it.
I mean, I don't want to say it. Like, and like Austin and McMahon, it was never like Steve Austin's going against Vince's script.
Right.
It was Steve Austin is refusing to go along with Vince as being this corporate champion. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it wasn't like, oh, it's like Steve Austin isn't doing what Vince wants him to do
E-
in the script.
even
You know,
even
that
when
type
it
of,
even when it was a shoot, even when it was real, even when Vince screwed Brett, what happened there could still be believable. They didn't say Vince screwed Brett like he went against the script. They said Vince screwed Brett because he came out and rang the bell, made the referee ring the bell. So it's not like Brett. They didn't say Brett thought he was going to win, but Vince said he wasn't. It wasn't that. It was this is a legitimate athletic contest, but the boss came out and made the referee ring the bell, so Shawn Michaels won the title in this legitimate athletic contest.
yeah.
You know, even the thing that was real, they didn't pretend was quote unquote going against a script.
Yeah. It's just it's all ridiculous.
I
And
hate it. I fucking hate it.
Hogan still even going like I'll defend Hogan a little bit because like him even saying like bullshit like you know what he say like
Bullshit
shit
like
like stuff bullshit like this is why the company is where it is or whatever.
mhm.
Like that could even at least be him being like, you know, how do I say it?
Like I wanted to have a legitimate athletic contest with your boy,
Yeah,
but he just laid down and made us all look stupid.
yeah. And then he put his foot on him and then he left. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I just what's gonna come after all of this is just makes me mad every time I watch it.
In the next segment, because again, like we said, Jarrett lays down for Hogan, and then he leaves, and Hogan cuts the promo on Russo, so now Hogan's the champion. In what was very much terrible, this Vampiro Sting shit is terrible. Like
Vampiro's terrible.
Agreed. The only thing Vampiro ever did that was entertaining was farting on the air.
Yeah. Hit my music, hit my fucking music. Whatever. Like, like he's supposed to be like this demon or this whatever, and he's like in the ring Well, I mean, he's supposed to be like this mythical demon. He shit himself. I wasn't gonna say that, but like in this promo, he's like, what do you say? Like, I took out Sting's sorry ass
Yeah.
and Dale's sorry ass. Like, you're not even cutting your promo like your character would.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You are no Undertaker, sir. You are no Kevin Sullivan. You suck.
You suck. I say go shit yourself, but you probably would.
There's like 8 guys in Sting masks carrying a coffin. Someone who might be Sting, but probably isn't Sting. Beats Vampiro with a bat, throws him in a coffin, and they show Vampiro in the coffin, and this is bad. It's just bad.
Well, they mentioned that Sting was wearing a mask, and then it might be because his face is all burnt up. And I forgot about this. And part of me was like, was he gonna try to make Sting wear a mask?
Like a
Like, I
cane
really
kind
think
of
he
thing.
would. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Sting was probably like, "Fuck you, I'm not doing
Yeah. Nope.
that. Like, I'm not gonna be a disfigured monster for you."
Then we get, after that garbage, we get Goldberg with Mean Gene cutting a promo on Kevin Nash talking about he's got Scott Hall's contract, which still doesn't make any sense to me. So my next question to you is, because I know we both hate it, and we both have mentioned that every time we see it, it makes us angry. But for the purposes of the show, should we actually listen to the Vince Russo promo?
I was going to suggest that,
Okay, so I have it.
honestly.
I have it here. I'll get it loaded up for everybody to. And most people that listen to this show have probably heard this before, but just so we can comment on it. The Vince Russo promo. I'll make sure you can hear it, Aaron. You can hear it?
3 weeks ago, I left.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Because I know last time, for some reason, a few shows ago when I tried to do the audio thing, for some reason it wasn't working. So I wanted to make sure. Here we go. The stupid Vince Russo promo.
WCW, and quite frankly, I didn't know if I was going to come back. And the reason I didn't know I was going to come back or not is because from day one that I've been in WCW, I've done nothing but deal with the bullshit of the politics behind that curtain. The fact of the matter is, I've got a wife, I've got 3 kids at home, and I really don't need this shit. But let me tell you the reason why I did come back. I came back.
Hey, if you say shit enough times, that makes it real, right?
Yeah.
For everyone in that locker room that week in, week out, bust their ass for WCW. I came back for the Booker T's. I came back for every single guy in MIA. I came back for the Animals. I came back for Jared. I came back for the guys behind that curtain that give a shit about this company. And let me tell you who doesn't give a shit about this company. That goddamn politician, Hulk Hogan. Because let me tell you people what happened out here in this ring tonight. All day long, I'm playing politics with Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan tonight wants to play his creative control card. And to Hulk Hogan, that meant that tonight in the middle of this ring, when he knew it was bullshit, he beats Jeff Jarrett. Well, guess what? Hogan got his wish. Hogan got his belt and he went the hell home, and I promise everybody, or else I'll go in the goddamn grave. You will never see that piece of shit again. Amen. But I I sat out there in the people just like you, and I know you paid good money to come here tonight, and nobody is going to be ripped off here tonight. So Hulk Hogan now has the WCW belt. And Hulk, let's refer to that as the Hulk Hogan Memorial Belt, because from here on in, that belt don't mean shit. Because there will be a new WCW belt. And as far as I'm concerned, that belt still belongs to the one guy that busts his ass week in and week out in the middle of this ring. And you people can love him and hate him, but he doesn't screw anybody back there, and that's Jeff Jarrett. Now hold on a minute. Jeff Jarrett is still the official WCW champion, but he will defend that title in this ring tonight. And he will defend that title against the son of a bitch back there who for 14 years has been busting his ass in WCW and can't get a goddamn break because of
Since 1986, Booker's been busting his ass in WCW.
Booker T. Booker T and Jeff Jarrett are the two reasons why I'm in this damn stinking business to begin with. So tonight in this ring, for the WCW title, two deserving guys, Jarrett and Booker, will compete for the WCW. They'll tear this goddamn out now. And Hogan, you big bald son of a bitch, kiss my ass.
So yeah, just a funny tidbit there. I didn't know Booker worked with Magnum and all them in '86, but
I didn't think Booker had been wrestling 14.
No,
you said 14 years.
In yeah,
I don't even know if Booker been I don't think Booker been wrestling 14 years in 2000.
No. That, like, listen, okay, so I know we've gone on and on and on about shoot work, how we hate it. But again, how can you come out, say that Hulk Hogan was going to play his, quote, creative control card, which meant that he wins the title from Jarrett even though he doesn't deserve to, which means that it would be a fake match where Jarrett would lay down for Hogan in a pre-planned finish, and then tell me that later on, Jeff Jarrett and Booker T are going to have a legitimate athletic contest for the world championship. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't. And,
it's infuriating.
Well, I wanted to look something up just because I wanted to, because I was curious. He should have phrased it differently. He should have said that he'd been given 14 years to the business, because this is surprising to me. You want to know what it is?
What's that?
Booker T, according to his Wikipedia, debuted in professional wrestling in 1986.
Oh, shit. I thought he debuted in, like, 90.
According to this, is 86.
So Rousseau is half right. We got to give him credit there.
Yeah. I was like, let's not completely shit on him because I want to make sure I'm right. So yeah, he should have said 14 years in the business, not 14 years for WCW. But either way, it was still a shitty promo, and everything about it was dumb. And I don't know. It's not as infuriating as, how do I say it? It is just as infuriating. And it's just going to get worse because Bischoff's going to be out of the picture now.
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
So at least Bischoff was there to be able to be like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like this is where the lawsuit stemmed from too, because this is what Russo did for himself, because Hogan and Bischoff, to sell the angle of them being mad or whatever, like they left.
And you
Like
know
they
what?
got on Hogan's bus and drove away.
Yeah, when I was talking earlier, I forgot all about that part. How Hogan, like the first part, the first half was actually like a part of the plan.
Yeah, like they wanted it to stem into an angle and be like Hogan comes back and they merged the belts or whatever. And I don't even think he was hinging on him winning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it was just like so they got on the bus and left to sell it, kind of like when Brett got mad at WrestleMania 12 and stormed out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like let's even work the boys and have the boys even think I'm mad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did the same thing, and then Rousseau came out afterwards and did this shit because Bischoff was like, people blew up my phone and were like, holy shit, you know?
And yeah,
But
like
yeah,
Aaron said, it gets worse than this. Like, I don't dig too much into much after this a lot of times because I just can't. I can't. Like, I watch wrestling to enjoy myself. And again, like I said, I'll watch it. I'll watch the dying days of the AWA are more entertaining than some of the good days of the AWA, just because it's fun to watch a dying promotion throw shit against the wall or whatever. But the dying days of Russo's WCW, like you have like that shit where he's the champion and he's like wearing a football helmet and a cage and he's in a Pope mobile and it's just and that's what I remember. I don't know if I've watched it a lot, but just what I said there and that I remember, it's fucking awful.
he had a braineurysm. That was something that I had a braineurysm. That's not even a saying, you fucking moron.
You sound like Trump.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. And and it's just like, again, I'm trying to like articulate it because I don't want to be like Rousseau and just
Regurgitate.
shit out my shit out my mouth. But this, I know we talk about like WCW falling apart and this, that, and the other thing, and like when it did happen, but this is truly the just end of it. Like
Yeah,
you can't come back after this.
there were highs and lows for WCW's entire existence. There were high highs and low lows, but after this, it is all low. And then by the time Russo's gone, it's fucking scorched earth. Nobody could have saved it. Nobody could have
Yeah, that's what
fucking
I'm saying.
saved
Like
it.
he ruined it. Like I know you said like 99 WCW. In my opinion, I don't know if you feel, but I think like were you talking about like WWF 99 was like all over the place and it was crazy or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I think WCW 1999 is one of the boringest wrestling company eras ever.
yeah,
It's just boring. And
yeah. Because it's after the NWO and they don't know what to do.
yeah, and but there were still highlights in it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like 99 we still had the West Texas Rednecks.
Yeah, yeah.
We still had Flair in the insane asylum with the crazy people.
Mm-hmm.
Like Flair, that like when he was crazy president, that was fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We still had they had a pretty good tag team division.
Mm-hmm.
Like when like it was like Benoit and Malenko and then like
Raven and
Perry Saturn
Saturn.
and Raven and Kurt and Barry, they had a decent tag team. Like it was still nothing was happening in it really, but it was just kind of like its own little rest. It was kind of just like they got through with the NWO thing and they just kind of became a wrestling federation for a little bit.
To put it in perspective, I can articulate what Aaron is trying to say, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. But I think what we're getting at here is if WCW had not been the victim of being owned by a corporation that constantly wanted to replace the leaders, because you know how you and I both work for corporations. We know how that is. If WCW would have been a traditional wrestling promotion, not a corporate owned, or a promotion like Vince's that was owned by Vince or owned by the people that owned it, not beholden to a corporation, 99 would be the year that we are waiting. We are just chugging along, but there's potential to turn this around.
Yeah.
We have the things in place that we can turn this thing around. But what happens is corporate people are not patient. Corporate people are not wrestling people. So they're like, nope, this is bad. We need to hire somebody else. Hey, this guy says he made Vince McMahon famous. And that's it. That's all, folks. But yeah, if WCW went into a traditional wrestling promotion or one that was owned by the people that were the wrestling people, like Vince's promotion, they had the potential in 99 to head into 2000 and turn that shit around.
And the other thing too is like that company was so stupid in the fact that they were like, oh, Vince Russo he's the guy that made the WWE, or WWF, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they offered him all this money. But it's like, if he's the saving grace of it and the guy that just whatever, don't you think Vince McMahon would have like,
fought harder to keep him?
Fought harder to keep him? Like, don't you think Russo would have been like, hey, Vince just doubled your offer? But
Right.
McMahon was kind of like, all right.
Fuck it.
See ya.
Go then.
See ya. Have a good time. Yeah, it's a fucking joke.
So,
like sorry. I was just gonna say Ric Flair talks about it in his book that even though like some of the legends, or shouldn't say legends, but some of the older guys in WCW, like Flair and Piper and Hogan and whatever, they kind of had their beefs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like what I was just talking about with like Cornette and Bischoff and Pritchard.
Yeah, they were all united in this guy's
Flair.
fucking idiot.
Yeah, Flair was like, everybody's lining up to shake his hand, man. Like he was the second coming, and me and Hogan and Piper and Savage are all just like, fuck this guy. This guy made the WWF, really? Him?
Whatever.
Whatever. Fuck you. Flair's like, I'm waiting in line to shake that motherfucker's hand.
Well, like I told Aaron before we went on the air here, as I was watching the show last night for review purposes, about 11 o'clock last night while I'm watching the show, our internet decided to go down. So I did not get to actually, between now and then, watch the last two matches of the show, but I've seen the show before. I know what the finishes are. So if Aaron wants to provide any context, he can. But
there's not really much.
The next match of the show is the aforementioned Kevin Nash Goldberg match with Scott Hall's contract on the line for some ludicrous reason. I don't know if during commentary they explained how Goldberg is now in charge of Scott Hall's contract.
They didn't.
Okay, of course they didn't. But I know that Goldberg does win the match. I do remember that he wins. I don't know how, but he wins the match and they tear up Scott Hall's contract. One thing I did write down here before you provide anything that you wanted to provide. The funny thing about this is they're doing this whole storyline about Scott Hall possibly, he might be able to come back if Goldberg doesn't rip up his contract. And the reality of the situation is at this point, Scott Hall doesn't even work for WCW. He was gone already. He was out.
Yeah. But the finish of the match is Goldberg. Well, before the match, Kevin Nash asked Scott Steiner to have his back and whatever. And the finish of this match is Kevin Nash going to get the jackknife powerbomb on Goldberg, and then Scott Steiner comes out and attacks Kevin Nash. And then Goldberg spears Kevin Nash and pins him 1, 2, 3, and then rips the contract up while Scotty Steiner has Kevin Nash in a Steiner recliner, and now apparently Scott Steiner and Goldberg are buddies.
All right. Again, since I didn't actually watch the match last night, I don't have notes on that. But like I've said through the whole show, there's nothing new here. I don't mind that Goldberg and Kevin Nash are having a match. I don't think they never had fucking classics, but they were never bad together. It was just that whole contract thing is silly to me.
I don't know if Scott Steiner went good and Goldberg turned bad, or
I don't know.
I don't know.
And to be honest with you, I don't remember what happens the next night. I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
For all I know, they dropped the whole fucking thing because Russo would do shit like that too.
Well, because I think like next month they turn him heel. It's like I thought he just turned heel here. I don't know what's happening. So anyway, Scott Hall is no longer with WCW apparently. And then Mean Gene interviews Booker T, who is humble about, he's like, talking about how like I didn't even know I was gonna be in this match when I showed up, so he's actually doing a good job. He actually does a good job in the promo being like, how do I say it? He's doing a good job with his character, saying like he doesn't like badmouth Hulk Hogan or anything like that. Like he's basically selling his character as like, I don't know what's going on with these other people,
but I'm taking an opportunity.
But I'm taking this opportunity. Like it's been put in front of me, and I'm not going to squander it. Like I have been working for this, and this might not be exactly the way I wanted it, but I'm not going to be foolish and not take it. You know what I mean?
I did write this down. I did write something down. That it says I didn't get to watch the match itself. You know what I feel about Booker T in 2000 and 2001? And I'm glad he got to have a good, long, awesome career in the WWE because I'm a Booker T fan. But you know how I feel about Booker T in WCW in 2000, 2001?
How's that?
I feel bad for him like I feel bad for Drew McIntyre having to be the COVID champion in WWE.
Yeah, because nobody's watching.
Nobody, and everything around you is kind of silly and stupid. You're doing a great fucking job, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, nobody's here. And
like, goddamn, man, you're doing so good, but
yeah,
sorry,
and the one thing I wrote is like the only good thing that came out of any of this was Booker T at least got an opportunity. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that might be the only thing Vince Russo ever did good with WCW.
Yeah.
Was giving Booker T an opportunity.
And he didn't even really realize what he was doing because he was being bitter and just putting the title on a guy that he thought was going to stick it to the quote unquote old guys that he didn't like. He can get on his stupid podcast now and say, I wanted to give Booker T a chance. It was not about Booker T, Vince. It was about you. So shut up.
So we roll into Jeff Jarrett and Booker T for the WCW Championship. Jarrett comes out and he has the WCW Championship on. So apparently there's multiple championship belts.
Yeah, and apparently this match is real?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just clarification.
Tony actually does something cool because he's like, hey, that actually is the belt because the top of it's dented. Like he pointed that out because like I don't know if you ever noticed, but like the tip of the WCW Championship, nobody knows how it happened.
And Scott Steiner apparently sold it.
Well, yeah, he sold it to Conrad Thompson, but like nobody knows how that tip got bent.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've tried to research it, and they're like, nobody knows. But like part of me is like, why didn't they ever unbend it?
He sold it to Conrad Thompson?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so because Scott Steiner's story is that he sold it before the company even went under, and they just
I don't
didn't
know if
know.
that's true.
I don't know. Like his story is like they had like that belt and they had like another like a backup belt or whatever, and he sold the real one that had the bend on it, and he just wore the other one. And he said you can tell when it changes because it's like the last days of WCW where he's the champion, and he said you
I
could
mean,
tell
he
when
might have still even sold it to Conrad Thompson at that time too. Conrad Thompson's
maybe
always been rich.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, am I a fan of the guy? No, but I mean, he's a hustler. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
Anyway, beside the point.
beside the point. Tony I thought that was kind of cool that Tony pointed that out. I
Hmm.
don't know why, but it's like, oh, there's a little sliver of what he used to be. You know,
Hmm.
of being a real wrestling guy or whatever. Um, Mark Madden on 2 different occasions calls Booker T Stevie Ray. So
I
he
guess
proves
they all look the same,
he's
huh?
he's a fat racist. Jarrett comes out like you were talking about, like Scott Hudson has to explain things to Mark Madden.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Jarrett comes out wearing the belt, and Mark Madden's like, "Hey, I thought Vince Russo said the title was vacant, but Jarrett's still wearing the belt." And Scott Hudson's like, "No, he said Jeff Jarrett's still the official WCW champion."
You fucking idiot.
And then Mark Madden's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that now." It's like, oh my god. Sit there and shut up, you fat piece of shit. Art Donovan's better than you.
If Mark Madden was Art Donovan, he'd be like, "How much do I weigh?"
How much do I weigh? I'm a big fella.
I'm a big fella.
How
Hey, where
much
am
do
I
I
from?
weigh? Where am I from? You're from Shoney's and you weigh 627 pounds.
And you smell like old bacon.
Yeah. You and Bertha Faye are gonna hook up and play find the peanut.
Your mom is one of the Rossetti sisters.
Yeah, you and Bertha Faye are gonna play find the peanut. That's where they just take a peanut and put it in one of their folds.
Downtown Bruno. Downtown Bruno's like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, I am playing no hide the peanut.
He puts on his little hat and goes away.
But anyway, they brawl through the crowd. It's a Jeff Jarrett walk and brawl. Is what it is. They wind up back in the ring. Jarrett tries to come off the top rope with his guitar, but Booker catches him, slams him down with the bookend, and Booker ends up getting the 1, 2, 3, and the crowd actually really is into it because it's Booker T, and that's how we go off the air, is Booker T being successful as the new WCW champion.
And again, like I said, not having watched the match last night, I do remember that from the last time I probably watched it, I remember it being a decent, good match.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things where this could have been a cool ending. This could have been a happy ending. And it was like you said, it was a happy ending maybe for those people in the arena. They got to see a new champion crowned who'd never been a champion before. It's a young guy, et cetera, et cetera. But everything leading up to it was just a fucking clusterfuck that didn't make any sense because you're trying to blur reality and fiction, and it's stupid.
And everything that comes after it's stupid too.
Yes.
Because it's not wrestling. Like if it was I won't get it. I was just gonna say, like, they don't even do like the obvious storyline. The obvious storyline, if you were gonna do this and you wanted to move on from Hogan or whatever, like, do you know who should be Booker T's like first challenger? Chris Kanyon.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. He beat Booker T.
I put Booker T on the same day that he won the fucking belt. Like, I beat him.
Yeah.
I beat him like 42 minutes before he done there enough. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I beat him like an hour and 15 minutes before he won the championship. I should be the #1 contender.
Yeah.
They don't even do that.
Why did Jim Cornette guarantee us that the British Bulldog was going to beat Bret Hart for the WWF title? Because he beat him in front of 80,000 people in Wembley Stadium.
He already did it. But as far as I know, they never do that. They just move into Goldberg breaking the script.
What?
And then Jeff Jarrett and Booker T in a 49ers match.
Yeah, that is the wrestling. I'm telling you, man. 99 WWF and WCW and 2000 WCW is the wrestling that I rewatch the absolute least. I will watch fucking Savoldi shit before I'll watch some of that WCW 2000 crap. Like I'll watch the new Tony Atlas. Funny, in ICW they turned him heel, right? In like 89. Tony Atlas, I think 89 or whatever. But then they call him like the new Tony Atlas for like 4 years after that. It's like, all right, he's been a heel for like 3.5 years now. It's not the new Tony Atlas anymore.
Yeah, he's the used Tony Atlas now.
But anyway, I gave this show pretty much a D, not an F. There was so much bad, and I'm again with the Booker T Jarrett match, I'm going on memory, but I remember enjoying that match. And unlike Aaron, I did find some enjoyment in the hardcore title match. Other than that, this is garbage.
Let me run down real quick what I enjoyed about this show. And there you have it.
My window's open in my office, and I hope that when you did that silence, the microphone actually picked up the crickets outside, because that'd be funny as shit.
You can add them in if it did. That I enjoyed nothing about this show other than Tori Wilson's outfit. Other than that, none of it.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Big
Last week,
pile of shit.
Big steaming pile of shit, bro.
Shit. Yeah.
And look who shitted out, Mark Madden, bro. Imagine a Mark Madden shit.
Ugh.
All right. Well, last week we had a really good review for Beach Blast 92. This week we had a terrible review for Bash at the Beach 2000. And now you know why WCW isn't around anymore, everybody. If you don't already know.
Because of bullshit like this.
Because of the bullshit of the politics in the back.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's crazy because this is where Hogan became Hollywood Hogan, and then this is where he left.
Yeah.
You know? And say what you want to say.
Pay-per-view wise, it's the pay-per-view he debuted in WCW on, too.
Yeah. So it's like, say what you want to say about it, but he was kind of right.
Yeah.
Shit like this is why this company's in the shape it is. See you later.
Well, I just want to throw one more thing out there for those of you that are listening that are in me and Aaron's age bracket, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners are. One thing that I did think about while I was watching this debacle, it's kind of crazy to think that, like, I always say it's funny how time works. Like, this doesn't seem like it was 24 years ago to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you were watching a show in 2000 when this show happened, if you were watching a show in 2000 that is as old as this show is in 2024, you would be watching something from 1976. Just think about that shit.
Yeah, it's how different life is.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, We're gonna sign off now because I need to use the restroom, have a cigarette, let my dog out. But Aaron, any parting words for our listeners before we sign off this week?
Yeah, let's just keep on listening, share, rate, and review, and I don't know what we're doing next week, but once we figure it out, we'll let you guys know.
Yep, absolutely. Continue, like Aaron said, continue supporting the show. Continue supporting us over on Reliving the Extreme as well as we go through the history of ECW. And that being said, we're going to sign off. We'll see you next week. Don't have a topic yet, but sometimes that's when the fun shit comes up. When we don't have any ideas, then we start coming up with wild shit to do. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time around here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Have a great week, everybody, and do not in any way ever be a Vince Russo. Be a Booker T. Don't be a Vince Russo.
Bro.
And definitely don't be a Mark Madden. You're going to have heart disease.